I remember crying out to God, God, use me, God, use me. And he said, have you ever been used by a boyfriend? And I was like, I thought you didn't remember those things. He said, how did you feel? He said, yeah, he said, how did you feel? And I said, I felt betrayed and I felt shamed. He said, have you ever been used by a friend? I said, yeah, it felt very transactional. He said, I don't use people. I anoint them. I heal them.
It's great, Lisa.
I transform them.
One of the places I've been parking recently is Matthew 25. I mean, I'm sure I've read it before. You know, it's like when you've read passages and then suddenly it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And it's like that last one, one of the final conversations where Jesus sits down on the Mount of Olives with his closest friends, and he tells these two parables, the 10 virgins, and then tells the one about him going away. He said, a master goes away, gave to one servant 5 bags of silver, give to one 2 bags of silver, give to one 1 bag of silver. And when he comes back again, and the person that had 5 now has 10, you know, he says, you know, that's fantastic, well done, good and faithful servant, come on, let's celebrate. And the one that had 2 now has 4. But he says exactly the same to that one. He doesn't say, well, that's great. It's not as great as the guy who had 10. He says exactly the same. Well done, good and faithful servant. Come on, let's celebrate. So I even think of women watching in and thinking, well, I don't have the same gifts as Janice or as Lisa or as Donna. I don't have those same gifts. Whatever the Lord has placed in our hands, when we determine that by his grace and in his strength that we're going to use those gifts, then we will hear that well done, good and faithful servant from him as much as the person that we look up to and think, well, you know, it's going to take God 20 minutes to say thanks to Billy Graham. And, you know, I'll just take me a couple of seconds. But I just think the fact that that was one of the last conversations that Christ had and trying to tell them, because people always say if somebody's died, oh, now you'll be hearing your well done, good and faithful servant. So that's why I started to look, well, where does that come up in the Bible? It comes up in Matthew 25 with that story of whatever God has placed in your hand, use it all for his kingdom.
Yes.
And then you will hear that well done, good and faithful servant.
That's really good.
John always talks that faithful means you multiply.
Yeah.
You know, we think faithful, like maybe it was faithful just to bury it and give it back. And we need to realize, no, the burying and giving it back is not faithful. Faithful is multiplication.
Yeah.
And it's all our perception of God. He said, I knew you were a hard taskmaster. I know you were reaping where you didn't sow. And I was afraid. So I'm just giving you what you gave me back. And we as women, and I do want to say women, I think, bury their talents more often than men. And we need to unearth and then plant and multiply what God has on our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unearth, plant, and then multiply.
Because when you plant something, you tend it.
Yes.
You have expectation. You cultivate it. I just had a tomato jungle in my backyard. We had to actually hire someone to pull it out because it had animals, I swear, in it. I was terrified of it. I mean, there were creatures. I could hear them. And I came from Colorado where you can spread things out. And so I planted 2 dents. And it was crazy. But so when I planted, every single day I would go out and be like, are the tomatoes ready?
Yes.
Oh, this one's ripe. Yes. But when you bury something, you don't go back looking for fruit.
Try to hide it.
No, and too many people have buried what God put in them as a talent in a season of disappointment. Yes. And they're going to come back and say, oh, no, you're hard. You're hard. This didn't happen. I never got married. I never had this happen. No, here's what you gave me back. Oh. And we need to remember, as long as we're drawing breath, we can actually take that talent and say, God, break it and multiply it. Yes. You know, there's redemption and there's hope and there's strength. I think one of the ways that we can come alongside other women, whether these are women that are our peers or whether it is women who are younger, the way that we can come alongside them is to open up the seasons of our lives and say, this is where I found the faithfulness of God. This is when I prayed that, but this is when I saw the fruit of that. So people don't lose confidence and they don't cast away their confidence right before the harvest. God has seeded your life with promises. God has seeded your life with gifts. God has seeded your life with talents. And too many of us in a season of discouragement, rather than plant those seeds, we bury them. I'm going to challenge you right now. If there is something that you buried that was a talent, that was a promise, that was a gifting, I'm going to challenge you to unearth it and planted again in God's word in faith.
Hey you, we're so glad you joined us today. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We don't want you to miss uploads from Better Together. And leave us a comment below. We want to know what's on your heart. Now, let's go back to the conversation.
Who you are to God is more important than anything you think you'll ever do for him.
Yeah.
I remember God said, who you are to me is daughter. You are not John's wife. You are not a minister. You are not an author. And I know that we use the term a lot. God uses us, but really God actually partners with us and uses what we go through. I remember crying out to God, God use me, God use me. And he said, have you ever been used by a boyfriend? And I was like, I thought you didn't remember those things. He said, how
East
did
to the
you
west.
feel? He said, yeah, he said, how did you feel? And I said, I felt betrayed and I felt shamed. He said, have you ever been used by a friend? I said, yeah, it felt very transactional. He said, I don't use people. I anoint them. I heal them.
It's great, Lisa.
I transform them.
Wow.
And he said, Satan uses people. Lisa, I want you to know me. And I want you to understand that. And again, I'm not saying that God doesn't use things in our lives, but he loves us first and foremost as a child. If my son came to me and was like, Mom, use me, I'd be like, wait, who you are to me is son. Whether you ever did anything, you were always loved. And I would say that to every single woman out there, that let that, anything that God does through you be part of that foundational relationship of father and daughter first.
Yeah.
That is actually really profound word, Lisa. I mean, that's really profound. You wouldn't say, no, I wouldn't. I mean, my son would never say to me, Mom, use me. You know, like I'm some, I mean,
It's so
that's
weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's, I can't think of how many times I've prayed that, Lord, here I
was
am,
praying
use
it.
me. Because you go back to Isaiah, it's not use me, it's send me.
Yes.
Here am I,
Send me.
send me.
Yeah.
But the sending comes from understanding who you are to start with. That you're,
And who's going with you.
and who's going with you. Yes.
Yeah.
Who is sending you.
For someone wanting to understand their purpose, I think it's go back to the presence of God and get to
first
know
love.
him, you know, because I think usefulness is not the issue. It's really a whose are you and who are you? I think that's the issue. And I think how you will partner with God will shift over time in different scenarios. And he'll show you the thread that connects them all. Like I would be like, Lord, you want me to sing? Okay. Now you want me to teach? Okay. Now you want me to be more of a counselor in this at this nonprofit? Okay. Now you want me to teach kids? And finally the Lord was like, I want you to participate with me so that people get healed. And whatever you do, it's going to include that. And so it's like, oh, so over time I can see what the Lord has invited me to, and it's all had to do with that. But ultimately, it was all throughout this time important for me to know who he is and know that I am his. And so I think that's what I would say. It's like, relationship is what's important. My dad, I'll see him this evening, but he doesn't see me and say, now come help me do this thing. We're just going to be together.
Yeah.
I remember Joseph Prince saying, you know, a lot of us want to feel God's love, but we also want to love God. And he said, I was at a point in my life, he said, where I was like going, God, I want to feel like I really love you, you know? And I think we all long for that, I am just in love with Jesus feeling all the time. And he said, the Lord spoke to him and said, when you realize how much I love you, that's all that matters.
That's right.
So that, Father, it's nothing that we ever do for God. Don't ever let the enemy tell you that, you have to do this or you have to do that to get this or get this. That doesn't, it's not what you do for Christ. It's what Christ can do on the inside of us that matters. And that is just saying, Jesus, you got to help me. Help me know those first steps. It's as simple as that. It's talking to him, engaging with your creator in your kitchen, doing your dishes.
That's right.
With your baby, nursing your baby. Just those little things that just all of a sudden, it's not God coming close to you. It's you realizing that God is close. He's already there. He's been there all along.
Or if you're in a hospital bed and you
hospital,
don't
God
feel
is
like
there.
you have much to give physically because you're not moving,
Yeah.
and you wonder, what could my purpose be now?
Yeah.
It's still connected to whose you are and how much he loves you.
I think about the women and the men who watch Better Together. And I just pray that your faith is strengthened. I pray that you get answers to questions that only God could answer. I think there's things that some of the women say and just kind of are shocked that it came out of their mouths. But I just pray that you feel a part of the family of God. That's what we're all here for. That's what Better Together is. We wouldn't be here without each other. I wouldn't be here without my friends on Better Together. I wouldn't be here without you. And so I pray for you today, and I bless you. I bless your families. I bless everything that concerns you. And I pray for God's abundance in your life, in every area of your life, His peace and His joy and His comfort, His healing power. All the things that He bled and died for are yours today. And I am believing well with you, my friend. And I pray that you're strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. God bless you.
I love how Eugene Peterson calls it a long obedience in the same direction. And then he continues on and he said, it's like you're not in a classroom necessarily learning, but you're at the work site of a master craftsman. And so it's that long obedience. It's the intimacy with Christ, because then purpose is only found in Him.
Yeah.
Like you can't find it separate from that. It has to be out of that relationship. Then it's the overflow, and it's not a have to, but wow. Okay, I get to, because, like when you have a sponge, whatever you put the sponge in, when you squeeze it, whatever it's been soaking in is what comes out.
That's right.
And so if I've been just soaking and walking in that same direction, then when pressure's applied or not, that's what's dripping out of me. It's not because I have to.
Yeah.
I get to.
Yeah.
I get to partner with the creator of the universe.
It's something about when you finally understand, even get a glimpse of how much you're loved by the Lord.
Yeah.
It shifts everything. I mean,
Yes.
it's just the kind of thing. I can remember when I was first in counseling, and I was in a very bad place, very dark place. And the psychiatrist asked me who I was. And I said, I'm Sheila Walsh. And he said, no, Sheila, I know your name. Who are you? I said, and I'm the co-host of the 700 Club. And I said, no, I didn't ask for your job description. I asked, who are you? And I said, I have no idea. And he said, I know that. And that's what we're going to discover together. And at the end of the time, my last time, heading back to my car, he called to me through his office window and he said, Sheila, who are you? And I said, I'm Sheila Walsh, daughter of the Most High God.
Wow.
Beloved daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter whether I went back to a different job. It wouldn't matter what I did, because none of those labels, it wasn't enough to be a wife or a mom or anything else. Those could all be gone in a moment. But when you realize who you are, and that means for the youngest watching and the oldest watching.
You can never change that.
No.
You are a daughter.
Yeah.
I am a daughter of Cliff Orndorff. That will never, ever, ever change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? I can't get out of it.
No.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
It's always to be.
And I just think that's the most beautiful thing about our Better Together community, that some are watching in beautiful homes, some are watching in circumstances where things are not great, but we're all together. We're all the same. The ground in front of Calvary is absolutely even, and we're all invited to come, and we're all family, and there's purpose for every single one of us. Our whole community was built on prayer. Please let us know how we can pray with you and for you in the comments below. Well, if this encouraged you, there is more. Check out our other conversations for more stories of hope and transformation.